And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Thursday, July 14th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Thursday morning, the sun is shining. Going to be a tremendous day, no doubt. And we're here to talk about Bates Ford this morning. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer. It'll trade for anything it don't need. Paul Tubbs, good morning.
Good morning.
Ronnie Kelly, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we got the two as usual. Paul's the dealer general manager, and Ronnie's in sales for all these years and still loves those F-150 Ford trucks, right?
Yes, sir.
What you got this morning, Paul?
Oh, well, just, everything's moving along pretty good. We've actually broke ground on our new facility. I've had several people say, they've rode by there and seen where they're moving dirt. I actually was coming back from Chattanooga, a little baseball tournament last weekend, and got off at Hartman Drive. And as soon as you start to get off that exit, you can look right to your right, and that's where our new facility is going to be. So we're excited that they're starting to move dirt and get stuff. We got a couple houses they got to get out of the way, but once they get that moving and going, we'll be reared up and ready to go.
You got all your plans already, the architectural plans?
It's all designed out.
Yeah, so you already know about what it's going to look like.
I know exactly what it's going to look like, and our service department's going to be 3 times the size of what we got at Bates Ford right now, and that's one of the main reasons we did this is because we just can't maintain the business that we've got over there in the facility that we're in. I mean, we have to, there's times where we're cutting oil changes off at 8:30, 9 o'clock because we can only do 35, 40 in a day. Well, you take 40 in by 8:45 and, somebody comes in at 9:15 says, I need to get oil change. And you say, well, can you leave it with me or I'll try to get it done today. It could possibly run in tomorrow. They're like, what? So it's a good problem to have as far as business wise, but we're trying our best to take care of our customers, but we also, one of the problems that we ran into is we would continually let people wait, and then the people that were patient enough to drop their car off would actually get the bad end of this deal because they wouldn't get the car done that day, and we're like, hey, we didn't get to it, and they're like, So I said, hey, we've got to figure out a number here where we can only do so many per day, and so let's take the first 35. And so that's kind of our policy now. The first 35 oil changes, we'll take that. And it's just because, one, the area has grown so much. If you look at all the stuff and people, I was looking in our DMS system the other day, and about 45% of what we're doing is adding new customers in. So, when you start taking the growth, and then the facility's not as big as what we need. So that's our main goal in building our new facility.
Sound like it's a pretty good problem solver.
Yeah, it's a good problem solver, but also, and I'm getting a little fee since I've been there for a long time. A lot of service customers coming to me and asking me, and Paul gets them in and get them out. He tries his best to do that, and that's one great thing that I like about it. If we got a customer and Paul will say, hey, man, he said, tell them to come by and see can they drop it off, and we'll see what we can do. And we try our best to please them. Like Paul said, sometimes they get a little upset, but we do our best. And what I like about, on service, even getting our used vehicles in to get them serviced, Paul still get that done. And that's helping the whole sales force, because if we don't get those cars in and have them ready to sell, then we got a problem.
And it's not a matter really of adding more employees, it's a matter of room, isn't it?
Well, it's both. We're going to put more staff together because we're going to, our service department's going to be a lot bigger, and that's the main goal for Tony and myself when we started looking into this is that we cannot produce enough work out of our service as far as in the facility we are with the workload that we're taking in. So, and what Ronnie was talking about used cars, see, that's the most important thing for us is that we get what we're selling through our shop and make sure that it's roadworthy and that it's lot ready and we can get it out there to sell, because we only want to sell quality vehicles. We don't want to stick something out there that we hadn't run through the service department. So we want to make sure what we're putting out there is ready to be, sell ready is what I like to say. But so, it's just the area's grown, and I mean, you can look by traffic, you can look by, we're having the same issue as everybody else. We're just overwhelmed with the amount of work that we're taking in. So, and it's not just Bates Ford. I get feedback from Mount Juliet. There's a dealer down there that they have a lot of same issues that we're having, Murfreesboro, Gallatin. So it's a common issue, but we're going to fight through it. When we get this new facility, I think it'll be a lot better.
Yeah. Okay, you got some deals today you want to talk about?
Yeah, we got some great deals today. We got several used trucks, and that's great on our lot side. But one thing I like to say before I get to that, now on yesterday, first of the week, and every day I've been going down to the side of our lot. I had to blame that on Paul because they are customer cars, and I'm telling people we can't. They're not our car. We can't sell those. That's and so, but that's the thing of it is
People wanting to buy it.
people want to buy those cars, and people get out of their car and start looking at them. But we still have a good variety of used cars and trucks. So let's come down and ask one of our sales staff, and we'll show you what's ours that we can sell. But we run out of space, and we got all those vehicles down there, and people think they for sale.
Well, go ahead.
Well, what he's talking about is normally our service park is kind of in front of the service and on the public side. Well, we've took in so much work, and with the lack of new cars that we have and the overrun, I've probably got 30 to 40 cars over on the other side, what I would consider the east side over by the church and kind of where the body shop is. I've got an overrun of service vehicles over there. There's probably 40 over there. So somebody will pull up and there'll be lined up cars and they'll think they're for sale. But actually, if there's a tag in the window, they're service vehicles. But we are starting to get some more new vehicles. We got a new F-150 that's on the ground, a new Mustang, a couple new Explorers. So we are starting to, kind of trickle in some new inventory.
Well, we're about to run out of time here, but Ken mentioned, of course, you were talking about oil change, but batteries and tires, that's important.
Exactly. Our batteries, 134.95 installed on most vehicles. Got a lot of customers coming down, a lot of people that hear us on the radio talk about it. Tires will meet or beat anybody's price, and as I always say, right now there's rebates going on with tires where you can either use Ford Pass Rewards or you can get a $100 rebate, and if you buy a set of tires from Bates Ford, we'll always give you rotation for life.
All right, Ronnie, have a great week.
All right. Thank you.
And Paul, always good to have you. We wish you well at Bates Ford and in baseball. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. We're 11 minutes after the hour, and Lieutenant P.J. Hardy joins us this morning from the Lebanon Police Department. He's their public information officer and my regular guest on the second Thursday of each month. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
I want to talk about 4th of July for a minute as we lead off here.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough the last 2 years to watch the fireworks from the entrance of the James E. Ward Center. So as soon as I know when it's about over, and dart out and not have to wait. How was it this year?
It was good. It's nice to see again folks starting to come back out and participate in events and that sort of thing. And so it was a great celebration. We had a great day that day. So yeah, we appreciate everybody coming out, and of course we appreciate all the folks on our end, our CERT members, and of course the officers that help make that run really smooth.
Well, this is sort of a prelude to the Wilson County Fair, Tennessee State Fair, I guess. There's what now?
It's the appetizer,
10 big nights to let people out of there.
Yes.
And not only that, get them in.
Yes, there was a big meeting the other day. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday or the day before. About the fair and what to expect this year. So we're expecting some pretty good things. Now there will be still construction going on the fairgrounds on some of the new buildings that are being implemented. But outside of that, we're good to go and making all the preparations that we need.
Well, if things stay like they are, we got. We got the state fair in there and part of it last year. So this year I'm anticipating bigger crowds, more to see and do, and especially with all that's going on, all the policing and all that goes with that. The job is probably going to be a little bit bigger now.
It always grows and never gets smaller, that's for sure. So we have lots of new personnel that we're going to be able to utilize. So definitely we'll have the numbers out there. You talked about the different state attractions and the new exhibit halls and whatnot. Like I mentioned, some of those will still be under construction. The red barn that they redid, that's on that path on the way to the area to the east side, to the south side of the property. Beautiful building. If you get a chance to take a look at that, it's gorgeous. So we're really excited about all the different things that are coming, and as always, we're excited about having the fair.
What kind of summer has it been so far? And summer's not over, although we're already talking about the start of school in 2 or 3 weeks. Here.
We are. Summer's been good. We've had a fairly decent summer, not too many traffic-related incidences, so that's always good. But, we still have those that are in a hurry to get from place to place, and we have to gently remind them that that's very dangerous. And so just keep the course for the next few weeks, and then, of course, I guess by the time I'm back next month, we'll be rolling back into school and having to watch those school zones.
Well, you've got some information about the DARE program.
I do. We're so
share it with us.
Yes.
And why don't we just let everybody stay with us, and we'll talk about that after we take this break.
Awesome.
Lieutenant P.J. Hardy, Information Officer for Lebanon Police Department, my guest, and this is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:14. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota. They have Exmark, large inventory of new and used Kubota mowers, RTVs, hay equipment, and more. Come in Saturday. Free popcorn. Check out the new Kubota products. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic volume building pretty good. 24 westbound. Coming up through the Hickory Hollow area, you got all that traffic coming in from Rutherford County right now through Wilson County. That's on the increase also out here on I-40 and passing 109. Just give yourself a little bit of extra travel time this morning. We've seen radar in parts of Wilson and Smith County. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar is home of the world-famous cotton candy wine. Check them out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
The refreshing cool after coming in from a hot summer day. The perfect temperature to kick off your shoes and relax with a good book. When the weather heats up, a new Rheem AC system will surround your family in total comfort. Are you feeling it? Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Contact Stephen Lowry Land Clearing for all your land clearing needs. Whether it's clearing trails for ATVs, reclaiming pasture, or clearing your land of brush and trees, Stephen Lowry can get the job done. He works closely with customers, adjusting to make changes as you want. Steve Lowry will give you quality work at a price that you could afford. He will also beat any written estimate. Call Stephen Lowry at 615-970-8154 for all your land clearing needs. That's Stephen Lowry Land Clearing, 615-970-8154.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Lieutenant P.J. Hardy for making the trip out here each month to tell us what's happening in the police department especially. But you have your ear and eye to the ground for the whole city of Lebanon. You and 2 or 3 others I could probably name, and I think know just about everything that's going on wherever.
Well, yeah, I tend to from time to time, but again, I'll remind you, I know I've said this before. I used to think that PIO stood for Public Information Officer, but sometimes it stands for last to know. So I try to do my best to keep up on what's going on.
What about the DARE program? For those who don't remember, I remember the name of it more than anything else, but it was a prominent thing years ago, and I guess it kind of fell by the wayside, or anyway, is some revision. It's coming back, I understand.
It is. We're bringing DARE back, and we are super excited. So, funny story, yesterday, we met with the Lebanon Special School District. So we're relaunching the DARE program back into the middle schools. We'll be teaching it at the 6th grade level. Officer Clark, Richard Clark, who just his previous assignment was on K-9, and we've selected him to kind of kick the program off and be the first DARE officer back in the schools. So yeah, years ago, it was a federally funded program, and it kind of, like you said, went by the wayside. The funding kind of went away and stuff.
Well, do you want to mention Sid Cripps? He was a prominent one.
I was going to, because it was so funny. We had the meeting in the morning about 8 o'clock over at the central office there at Lebanon Special School District, met with Mr. Hutto and Mike Kurtz and Ms. Kegley and a couple of the principals. And it was a great meeting. We left there, and I said to Richard, hey, have you had breakfast? Let's go get breakfast. So we go get breakfast, and we're eating, and we get about done, and here comes this shadow from the corner of my eye, and there was Sid Cripps. And I said, how interesting is this, that we just got done talking about the DARE program, and here you are. And so he was enjoying some breakfast with some of his buddies, a little group that he had out there, and so we talked about it. It brought back a bunch of memories, and I mean, his words, he said that was one of the most satisfying things that he experienced during his career as law enforcement. And so I just thought that was really neat, and I thought it was ironic how all the moons and the stars kind of lined up for us to run into each other.
What was the primary purpose and focus of the DARE program?
So DARE originally, their tag or their slogan was just say no. And they did a great job of letting kids know about the dangers of drugs and alcohol out there and why they should avoid it and that sort of thing. The one thing that's really great about this new program, this revamping of this program, is it's more focused. Yes, the message is still there about the drugs and alcohol, but it's focusing on life skills and good practices that if kids really learn these skill sets and learn these lessons and take them to heart, they won't have to worry about drugs or alcohol or other bad behaviors, because they'll know how to make good decisions. They'll know how to do refusal techniques. And that was one of the things that I've always said in the past. DARE is great at saying just say no, but sometimes they weren't great at saying how. And when you have a very impressionable sixth grader, they're in that age, that stage where they're trying to figure out where they fall within the social guidelines. And so by teaching them good refusal techniques so that they're prepared, so when someone says, hey, let's go do this or that, one of the things I like to say is one of the worst experiences for me is to walk through schools, and I have a lot of programs from kindergarten, or actually preschool, all the way through college. One of the worst things that I hear is I hear one child say, hey, let's do this or that or the other, and I hear the other child go, okay. When I hear that, okay, I know that child was not prepared to answer. And so DARE helps in those situations. So they're ready, and they're like, they can either blame someone else for why they can't do it. They can stand firm in their no and mean it. They can present alternatives to whatever is being suggested. So there's lots of different tools that they can use to say no without, back in our days, one of our terms, being a goody two-shoe. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So, and it is. For that age, it's really difficult because they don't want to come off as a goody two-shoe, even though they should. But it gives them different ideas on how to tackle that stuff. So it's more about the life skills so that they can avoid all of those negative things that they're going to be exposed to.
Now, this is going to be started out in the Lebanon Special School District?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So right now we're in both of the middle schools, like I said, at the sixth grade level. The Lebanon Special School District, they are wonderful. They are co-sponsoring and co-funding this program. There's money involved in the position itself and all the materials and whatnot. So they're co-funding that. We are also accepting donations from anybody in our community that, if themselves or their organization wants to help contribute to the program, there's a way to do that. They can reach out to Officer Clark by email, richard.clark@lebanontn.org. And he'll give them all the information. It's a tax deductible.
Is the
donation.
drug and maybe the alcohol, maybe the big thing, the big focus here? But there are a lot of other things you need to say no to as well.
Absolutely. Right now, one of the bigger focuses is vaping. That's a big issue throughout all of the school district. And there's such dangers in that kids don't really understand. Shoot, adults don't really understand it. But we're going to partner with some of the local entities like Drug Free Wilco. They do a great program to show kids actually what the effects are on the lungs and why it's very dangerous to vape. So that's going to be one of our focus points on that. But yeah, again, the great thing about it is that with this program and with the life skills that are being taught in the lessons, they can avoid all of those things, whether it's alcohol, the introduction of alcohol, drugs, vaping, and other typical things that they're going to be exposed to that are negative.
Well, it does seem that when something comes along and maybe we sort of get a handle on it, something comes along to take its place, and there's something new all the time.
Well, I've always said, I guess that's the thing about law enforcement. There's always job security, because whenever we feel like we've tackled the one problem, there's another one that comes right behind it. So yes, you're absolutely right. But I think at the end of the day, it's about education, informing folks what the information is out there, so that they know, one, they know, and two, they know for themselves how they're going to navigate that. And then the other thing is about behavior. And so if we can, it's just like a traffic stop. A traffic stop is nothing simply than us reminding folks that there's a behavior here that took place, and we need to rethink that behavior, because it causes accidents, it causes injury, may cause death. And so education and behavior, those are kind of the things that we do on a regular daily basis. And it's really important that we get that out to folks. And so that's, again, another
What
reason.
about parent involvement in this? I mean, I can't imagine a scenario that a parent would be opposed to, but I would think it would be totally above board what their children are being taught.
Yeah, so very few, but there have been a couple of concerns about, well, does it actually introduce kids to either ideas or drugs or whatnot that they may not have thought about? And I understand that to a point, but what parents really don't realize is in the school system, especially in middle school and high school, they're going to be exposed to it, whether the parents think that they will or not. So we would rather, we don't go into the illicit details about this, that, or the other. We just kind of let them know, hey, this is out here. This is kind of what it does. This is what it does to your body, and this is the negative impact and the long-term effects that it has if you do this, that, or the other. It's not a, hey, check out all these different things that are available to you. It's really just to have them prepared. That's the big thing. When kids aren't prepared for situations, again, that's when we get the okay reply, and that's what we're trying to avoid, that they know ahead of time what they're getting into.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes left. I don't know. We are unrehearsed for the most part when you come out here. We just sit here. And
we just sling it, don't we?
Comes to mind. So
Sure.
What else is on your mind?
Well, just a reminder, we do have our Citizens Fall Academy. That'll be coming up third Thursday in September. So next month in August, we'll be putting the information out as we usually do on our Facebook page. You can sign up and apply for that. We had a great turnout the last academy, so we're hoping and expecting the same for this one. We've got lots of new officers coming on board with the budget year. I think that we were allotted 8 new positions. We've had some movement, and we've had some folks that have left us, which is rare, super rare. As a matter of fact, when we have our accreditation inspections, they always think that when we give them our report, they always think we've made an error in the retention numbers, because they say there's no way that your number is that low, and then we verify it and say yes, it is. So it's very rare that we have officers leave, but we've got a lot of new folks coming on. We're going to have a lot of new faces. You'll see a lot of new member spotlight posts on Facebook, so kind of bear with us, because we want to give everybody the opportunity to share who they are with the community as they start with us. And so,
Well,
super
with all
exciting.
the new ones coming on board, how are you for space? You still got room to grow?
We're good to go. Thank goodness we built that facility where we had growth in mind, and so we're just now starting. Our detective division was intentionally built to have double occupancy in each of the offices. So even in it's coming up on 3 years. Actually, it's 3 years now. Even in that short span, we have filled the offices that we have, And if we fill any more detective positions, we're going to have to start doubling up. But, we've got 15 offices, so it'll be a long time before we have them all at double occupancy. So we're good.
But when you come back again, your regular scheduled visit, school will have been underway for at least a week.
Yes. Please be mindful of those school zones. Protect our precious little ones, and just be aware of your surroundings and be careful.
And texting's another thing we
Yeah.
don't have time to get into much, but is that still a problem?
It's still an issue, and just a reminder as well that texting in any form is completely against the rules. You have to be hands-free, and even in school zones, you can't be on the phone, whether it's hands-free or not, in a school zone. So just be mindful of that.
All right. Well, thanks for your visit today. Have a great month, and we'll see you in about 30 days or whatever.
Awesome. We'll see you next month. Thanks, Coleman.
Lieutenant B.J. Hardy. That's part one of Coleman and Company. We hope you'll keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And it's 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and that regular oil change is $34.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase even more now out of Rutherford County on 24 out through the Hickory Hollow area. Here comes that traffic now. 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Still looks good out of Dixon County. As far as accidents now, that traffic volume increasing on 40 east at 840 there through that section of Dixon County. Had a bad wreck out there yesterday. Lots of radar on the interstate this morning in Dixon County. Hey, Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, they're home of the world famous cotton candy wine. Log on to GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
There's a reason why more home buyers and sellers trust A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction to get the job done. A.G. & Johnson offers what you want: more knowledge, more personal attention, more convenience. When you love what you do, it shows. That's why we have been voted the best of Wilson County by you, our clients. Discover the A.G. & Johnson difference. We are trusted by your neighbors for a reason. Call 615-444-0909 or visit us online today, agandjohnson.com. Your community trusted realty and auction company.
Service the hometown way. That's THW Insurance. Because THW is an independent agent, you can select from several highly rated insurance companies offering competitive rates and excellent service to best suit your needs. For home, auto, life, health, long-term care, business, and employers insurance, ask THW. THW Insurance Services, 321 West Main in Lebanon, or call 443-3849. For an online quote, visit thwins.com.
Staying dry and sunny for the rest of the week with highs consistent in the lower 90s. Widespread storms won't return until Sunday. Humidity levels won't get bad again until the weekend as well. Overnight, we see mostly clear skies and readings falling into the middle 60s. This will be the coolest night out of the next few. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Eric Shriva.
All right, we welcome you to part two of Coleman and Company, and this morning, as usual on Thursdays at this time, we talk about A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main here in Lebanon, and this morning we've got Mr. A.G. with us. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Jim A.G., you're the one that A.G. & Johnson, you're the A.G. of A.G. & Johnson.
That's correct.
And you're here, I understand, because Jay White and Helene Cash are busy this morning. You tell you what, Jay is and Helene and whoever, and I guess you're involved here too, some, but they're more in the spotlight anymore. These auctions are a big thing, and Jay's going after it.
That's right. They're coming fast and furious these days.
Well, you got some of them you want to talk about this morning.
I do.
Well, tell you what, before we do that, I mean, how long? When did A.G. & Johnson actually start? You and Jerry Johnson were the two partners, right?
That's correct. We started in January of 1977.
And now, I understand Jay bought you out. You're still affiliated, but Jay's a principal owner, maybe? Or?
He is.
Okay.
He is.
But you love it so much you can't get away for good. And
I
and
still,
go sit
I
under the
still
shade.
enjoy it. I still enjoy
You don't want
it.
to go sit under the shade tree. You're still part of it, just not as big a part.
That's right. But I work every day, just like it did.
Yeah.
Well, I say every day, 5 and 6 days a week.
There you go. Well, tell us about some auctions.
Well, we have one today, as a matter of fact. We're selling Larry's Woodworking Shop out on Highway 231 South. We've got all kinds of real good woodworking equipment. I mean, you know, he has sold his building out there, and he's retiring. But we've got some excellent woodworking equipment if anybody's in the market. I mean, we've got joiners, saws, drill presses, air compressors, you name it, and we have it. But just a real nice selection of woodworking equipment, selling a 96 Ford F-250 diesel truck and a 22-foot enclosed gooseneck trailers, and then a lot of supplies. You know, we got everything from screws to sophisticated woodworking equipment.
All right. And where's this again?
It's Highway 231, 1715 Murfreesboro Road, Highway 231 South.
Right.
It's on the left just before you start up 4 Mile Hill.
Okay. All right. Between Southside School and 4 Mile Hill.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And this going to go all day, you think? Or
Well, I mean, of course, we'll start at 10 o'clock, and, you know, we'll probably be through by, you know, I would think 1 or 1:30,
Yeah, okay.
something like
But-
that.
well,
Well, the selling, but there's a whole lot goes on after the
Right.
selling.
all right. More auctions.
More auctions. Saturday, we're going to be selling 112 prime acres out on the corner of Hartsville Pike and Hamilton Chambers Road. That's out in your neck of the woods out there.
Well, it used to be, for sure.
But got a beautiful farm out there, has close to a mile of road frontage. Be selling it in 25 tracts. They're all, you know, surveyed, utility water available, septic approved. We should get the approvals back on them today. And we've got, they range anywhere from 1 to 13 acres. We have 16 tracts under 5 acres and 9 tracts 5 acres and above. But, I mean, a beautiful piece of land out there.
Yeah, and when is this?
This is Saturday, this Saturday,
All right.
the 16th at 10 a.m.
Okay. All right.
And it's right there at the corner of Hartsville Pike and Hamilton Chambers Road.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's just nice land there. Good
Very nice.
location,
And this farm has been in that family for many years, and
you probably have 20, 25 new families out there before long. We're growing everywhere.
I think so. I mean, you can buy anywhere from an acre to 13 acres, and then the way we sell, you can put some together. You know, you can put you a small farm together out there.
You go. You got another one you want to talk about, or?
Yeah, a week from this Saturday, the 23rd, we're selling a nice ranch brick home on 6 acres out on Simmons Bluff Road, 1550 Simmons Bluff Road.
That's off of 231 South.
Off
isn't it?
231 South.
Towards Noreen, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it has a barn and a detached garage, and then we've got a tractor and bush hog, and, you know,
Well, I'm
a
sure we'll be
few
talking
pieces.
more about that one next week.
Yeah,
but,
we'll go in more
tell you
detail
what,
next week.
I think you had 2 auctions last week, one on Thursday and Saturday, if my memory's right,
Mm-hmm.
and same thing today. It's you people at A.G. and Johnson do love auctions.
We do.
And
We do.
You've been doing it since, when did you say you started?
We started A.G. and Johnson in January of 1977, but I've been in the auction business since I started in 74.
Right out of high school, wasn't it? Just about.
Just about. Back with, started out, I don't know where you remember Mr. Henry Lee and Mr. D.F. McNabb.
McNabb, Henry, I sure
I
do.
started with them.
Well, you started with some good ones. Well, Jim, it's really good to see you today, and glad you come in and pinch hit for Jay and Helene. And y'all have a good one, and we'll see you or somebody next Thursday.
Sounds good.
All
Always
right.
a pleasure to be
Jim
here.
Agee this morning with Agee and Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main in Lebanon. Phone number 615-444-0909. All right, 21 minutes before the hour, and this morning it is my privilege to have Congressman John Rose, who's going to be speaking to us from Washington, D.C. Congressman is on the phone. Congressman Rose, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Walker. It's good to be with you this morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, let me say that it is really an honor and a privilege, not only for me, but for our radio station here, to have someone of your stature to want to come and spend some time with us, and I really appreciate being able to do this. We have you set up on a quarterly basis, and just really appreciate having you with us this morning. Now, what's the latest with you in Washington, D.C. right now?
Well, a number of challenges. We are in a 3-week kind of sprint, you might say, to the August recess. And, of course, it's an election year, so a lot of people here who have hot elections back home are hoping to finish up and get some time back in their districts in August to campaign, I guess. And so we got a lot of business. We tend to put off our homework to the night before the test here, or the night before it's due, and so we were up late last night, started again early today, and right now we're working on the National Defense Authorization Act, and over the 2 or 3 days here, considering about 600 to 700 amendments that have been made in order for that, which is, you might say, frustrating at some level just to have that much to deal with, but frankly, it's a good thing, because seeing that process happen in regular order here is a good thing, and it's something that we haven't done much of during the 3.5 years that I've been in Congress. And so, the process is sometimes difficult, but I think it's a good thing. Unfortunately, the Democrats, of course, have the majority, and so they didn't let many of our amendments to the Defense Authorization Act make it to the floor, but I was successful in one of mine making it there, and so it will be up for a vote later today. I think they're saying we're going to have an 8.5-hour voting session later today, so it'll be a marathon event.
Well, I know you got to love an 8.5-hour marathon event like that. I say that tongue in cheek.
Well, we still are doing, it would, of course, as you can imagine, it would take a while to vote on as many amendments as I'm describing, and there are some methods where they combine some of them, but unfortunately, the majority has kept in place proxy voting, and of course, that slows the process down. So in the old days, before that, before COVID, and before they put proxy voting in place, which allows members all across the country to sit at home and not come in to vote, essentially delegating that responsibility to one of their colleagues. We used to have 2-minute votes, and you can move pretty fast when you've got 2 minutes. You have to stay alert, but and just to illustrate that, I missed a vote last night, sitting right in front of sitting right there. It was hopefully not a consequential vote on one of the amendments where my vote wouldn't have made a difference, but you do hate to be sitting right at the right on the floor, and obviously all I had to do was push a button, but I got distracted for a moment, and they dropped the gavel, which is a good thing for them to remind me. I need to be paying attention every second. So,
let me bring up something that's happened since we last talked, and that, of course, the Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade and the abortion issue being sent back to the states. I think that's been discussed an awful lot, but the reaction to this, and some of the people, some to the left, seem to not want to accept this and have been, seems like sometimes even going out of their way to be not only vocal, but wanting to not go along with this. I just wondered your comments about this, how you feel about their reaction.
Sure. Well, let me start by saying that, my heart leapt for joy the day that this decision came down. As you know, I'm staunchly pro-life and believe that life begins at conception, and that that's the right we probably need to defend most vigorously is to defend those who are least able to defend their own rights, and certainly that would be the unborn. And so happy to see that decision made. As a lawyer and as an observer of this over the years, I would tell you I also think that was a great day for the rule of law in our country, and you know that's something I've been concerned about. And I say that because I think the consensus for a long time, and many felt this the day Roe was decided, was that decision was made, based on poor reasoning and poor logic. The court at that time wanted to get to that decision, and they kind of strained the law in lots of ways in order to get to the outcome that they wanted. And I think in doing so got out of their lane and turned themselves into legislators. And we've, as a country, I think, suffered through 50 years of rancor that could have been avoided, or at least should have been directed toward the people deciding this at the ballot box. And so the reaction that you've asked about concerns me greatly because, I think as conservatives, so often we're unhappy through the years with some decisions that have come from the Supreme Court. And, yet we, kind of give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's and comply with the law, if not grudgingly, but we comply nonetheless. And we've seen a number of decisions like that in recent years that, again, I believe were wrongly decided, and I believe hopefully this court will revisit some of those over time. And so then to see the left act as though when a decision doesn't go their way, that somehow that is evidence that the process isn't working or that the court has become politicized. I would tell you that the decisions in the recent decision, or the reasoning in the recent decision, I think are more in line with what the court should be doing in the Dobbs case. And I think that what the court has simply done is say, look, the Constitution doesn't speak to this. There's not a word about abortion in the Constitution, and the Constitution makes very plain, very clear that if something isn't in the Constitution, if that power isn't granted to the federal government or that right isn't preserved, then it is preserved by the people in the states to make those decisions. And that's what they decided, and they sent it back. And so for those of us who are pro-life, there's a battle now that we have to win state by state to convince the electorate and the people to use their democratic powers under our system to decide this question. And frankly, I think that's the way this should be decided.
All right, we need to take a break. Congressman John Rose is on the phone with us. We got a lot more to talk about, so keep it here, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:47. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's been busy out here. It all started earlier. It seems like with that garbage truck fire we had over on Murfreesboro Pike earlier. Now they're still working that wreck out here at 5th and Main Street. Traffic still moving right now through Mount Juliet. Just heavy. All that traffic coming out of Wilson County headed towards Nashville. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar is home of the world famous cotton candy wine. They have some new flavors. Check them out today at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
Charles Lehman is asking for your vote for Wilson County Trustee August 4th. Charles grew up in Noreen and has been a lifelong resident of Wilson County. Charles Lehman brings a strong education tempered with decades of experience to provide the citizens of Wilson County with a rock-solid background for their next trustee. Working as an appraiser for the Comptroller of the Treasury for 34 years and going into real estate after retirement, Charles brings a strong foundation to serve as your next trustee. Paid for by committee to elect Charles Lehman Treasurer.
Hey, this is Paul at Bates Ford. We got some great things going on for you. If you got a vehicle you want to sell, bring it to Bates Ford. We'll give you a cash offer on the spot. Also, come check out our great used inventory. And on the service side, we got the cheapest oil change in town, got the cheapest batteries in town, and we'll meet or beat anybody's price on tires. Come visit us at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, or visit us on the web at www.tonybatesford.com. That's Bates Ford, the dealer will trade for anything that don't eat.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. And if you just turned our way, Congressman John Rose is my guest this morning. He's speaking to us on phone from Washington, D.C. And Congressman, we were talking a little bit, mentioned inflation during the break here, and that's something that's been on a lot of people's minds. I just wonder if you're hearing a lot about that from your constituents and some comments about that and anything maybe we can do or should be doing.
Well, absolutely. It's probably the number one issue. I think it will be the number one issue in the fall elections for most people. New number out just this week, yesterday, 9.1% consumer price index inflation in June, and that takes us to a new, fresh 40-year record high, again, back during my junior year in high school, November 1981, the last time we saw inflation this high. And of course, always point out that if we calculated inflation the same way now as we did back then, it would be a record for that whole period during the 70s and 80s. And for those of us old enough to remember that, that's the problem. And so I hear about it a lot. I also am beginning to hear about the impact of the rising interest rates, which the Federal Reserve is putting in place to confront that inflation. And then I would tell you we are debating that, talking about it, pressing that issue every day here in Washington on the Republican side at least, because we feel very strongly and have been warning about this since before the inflation began, that the policies that the Biden administration has insisted on are in fact exacerbating, if not absolutely causing the inflation that we're seeing. Much money into the economy with programs like the American Rescue Plan, $2 trillion last year that even former Democratic Treasury Secretary Larry Summers predicted would cause just what has happened to happen. And I think he just had that absolutely right. But also the president continues to put in place policies that deter Americans from going about their business, producing and goods and services. And so a lot of this inflation is being driven on what's called the supply side, which is that there isn't enough, and anyone who's trying to build something or buy products right now knows just have to drive by Wilson County Motors and see their lot and know that there's a problem because they can't get inventory and we can't get the things we need. And hear that every day from farmers. I was visiting with a group of soybean growers from Tennessee yesterday. Some of them haven't been able to get parts for their tractors, so their equipment is setting idle when their planting season has come and gone, and of course, that's going to mean less production. So it's a very unvirtuous cycle that the administration has set in motion.
Well, switching gears a little bit, there's been a series of hearings, congressional hearings going on concerning what took place on January 6th on Inauguration Day. And I've heard a lot of criticism about some of the way these hearings are being conducted, but just would like to get your take on all of this and where it's headed and maybe the end result here, even the purpose, what is trying to be determined. Is that all that it should be? And I'll let you start.
Sure. So I'll be honest with you. I am not watching those hearings closely, and nor do I think really anybody here in Washington that's not involved in them is watching them closely. And so, and the polls show that the American people are frankly disinterested in this, largely speaking. And excuse me, Coleman. And so, I think we have to begin with a couple of points of understanding. So. This committee, the so-called select committee, frankly, I believe is really illegitimate by historic standards. So there are two Republicans serving, but they were not appointed by the Republican caucus. In fact, Speaker Pelosi rejected many of the Republicans that our leader, Kevin McCarthy, the Republican minority leader, appointed. And so then they withdrew their nominations kind of in protest. And so then she ended up appointing, frankly, the two Republicans that are serving because she knew they already agreed with the conclusions that she hoped to reach in this with respect to these hearings. So we don't have the importance of that is that we don't have the typical adversarial approach to these hearings. So no one's asking the questions from the other vantage point, you know, and of course that's a hallmark of not only the American political system but also our judicial and system. Is that we have an adversarial system where you're sure that there is a vetting of all the issues because there's someone there to ask the tough questions the other way that maybe one side would prefer not to hear. That's not happening here, and we see that with the way these hearings are unfolding. And so then I will just say this, you know, our presidential election process, frankly, is not set up to really provide an opportunity for a contest of the election to ferret out the answers to the kinds of questions that pertain to the 2020 election. I think everyone, if they're honest with themselves, who saw the 2020 election unfold, knows that there were lots of irregularities with that election. We saw lots of changes to the election rules leading up to that election, lots of allowances for people to vote without authenticating who they were or without knowing for sure that the person whose name was on the ballot was the person who cast the ballot. And there frankly was no time after the election to really carefully analyze that. And we saw many states pursue policies where as soon as they received a ballot, they separated that ballot from any evidence that could have told us whether that was a proper ballot or not. And so we have that problem all across the country, and that's really what the debate and the discussion should be about, in my opinion. And so I think what we see happening here is the Democrats, led by Nancy Pelosi, trying to basically flood the space with information to try and refute that there was any problem with the 2020 election. Certainly, President Trump contended and continues to maintain that there was a problem with that election. He believes he rightfully won if the votes had been counted correctly and cast correctly. And I think there will be, over the fullness of time, historians will address that question. But what this has exposed for all of us as Americans is that our presidential election process happens so quickly at the end that there's really no chance to dig in and really vet the voting process. And so you've seen a lot of writing on this already, a number of documentaries done that expose some of the alleged problems and try to shed light on them. And I think over time we'll see that process unfold. This is just frankly a partisan attempt by the Democrats to try and build their case that everything was fine. And so you'll hear them say all the time, you'll hear them using conclusory remarks, that predetermine the outcome in their mind of not only this hearing that's happening, these hearings that are happening, but also trying to just bolster their contention that there was nothing to see here back in 2020. And I think most fair-minded Americans realize there was something that wasn't normal about that election. And certainly statistically, it looks very curious. We saw a number of things happen that have never happened before in our elections. So that's kind of my take on this. I think at the end of the day, there's not really going to be any major useful findings here because, frankly, they aren't looking for the things that they haven't already decided they believe are true.
All right, we got a couple of minutes left here, but speaking of elections, we got one coming up in November, and of course you are unopposed in your position. What are the chances of a Republican takeover, maybe of both houses of Congress?
Sure. Well, I guess let me just make one minor correction there. So I have no opponent in the primary in August, on August 4th, but I will face an opponent presumably in the November election.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the correction.
Sure. Didn't want to misinform people. So there are two Democrats running, and they will, so I will likely, unless something unusual happens, I would likely face one of them on the November ballot.
Okay.
Having said that, just looking at all the information that's available right now, I would tell you it seems very probable as we get as close as we are now, just 4 months out, at less than 4 months, 120 days from the election. I think most political pundits believe that the Republicans will take the majority in the House. In fact, the early data would suggest that we will win one of the largest majorities in history in all likelihood. So 4 months, still a lot can change in 4 months, and we see some signs of life now from the Democratic side, motivated by some of the Supreme Court decisions and other developments, presumably. And so they're raising a lot of money, and so may be able to more effectively defend some of the seats that they hold across the country. But most of the polling that's being done and the mood of the nation, overwhelmingly Americans believe we're headed in the wrong direction. Everyone believes this is going to be a gas and groceries election, with folks making decisions based on that inflation number and the difficulty they're experiencing in purchasing goods and services that they need. And so just if the Republicans pick up just 37 seats in the House, which is a big number by historic standards, it would give us a 100-year majority, a record majority for the last 100 years. And so just to kind of put this in perspective, and so all of the indicators seem to be pointing in that direction, and increasingly pointing in the direction of a likelihood that we would retake the Senate as well.
All right, we're running out of time here. Are you going to make the Wilson County Tennessee State Fair this year?
I am going to be there. I think I'm not going to make opening day because I've accepted an opportunity to speak in another county in the district, but I'll be here on Monday of the fair, and for the FFA ham breakfast, the Future Farmers of America ham breakfast, which will be one of the highlights of the fair, and certainly a big day for the FFA and farmers in Tennessee and the agricultural folks. And so I would encourage everyone to join us on August the 22nd at 7 p.m.
All right.
At the County Fairgrounds.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We are out of time. Congressman, we'll do it again, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
That is it for Coleman and Company. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a terrific day.